Oh, couldn't you get like some dragon blood and make that into a poison to just take out the knight?
I think Josh is nervous about giving me poison.
Greg, I know that you love just to rip everything apart in D&D that you kill and try to craft shit out of it. That is for Jonathan's games. Listen, in my game, you kill something, you kick the carcass over a cliff, and you just move on with your day. Welcome back, everybody, to Dungeon Brew. This is the Short Rest, episode 8, where me and the guys come together and we talk about the game that we just played. We just finished with the party going and killing the red dragon in its lair off in the Shade Mountains. And outside of that, it was just a lot of conversation, I think, between the characters. So I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, I guess, for us to talk about what happened and what else we want to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I guess we'll start off with the tavern. You know, we started there. I'm still not sure how 𝐥𝐤𝐤 feels about anything. Like it's a torn game. I think all he cares about right now is the book. Finishing the book, making sure it's recorded, it's documented.
I gotta say that
I'm not even sure it's. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I watched through Jonathan's cut of the game that we played today. Got about halfway through, which was the first half, and you guys are also like despondent and then hopeless about like what's going on. And while that sounds like terrible, I have to say that I'm kind of excited about it, because when you study like the art of writing and you move into the third act, the characters are supposed to have like the dark night of the soul, which is like the lowest point that they get in the game of hopelessness. Sure. And you guys represented that so well. So I'm like, yes, they're exactly where I want them to be.
I'm glad our inner emo came out.
Next week, we're all going to have our fingernails painted black with Sharpies. It's gonna
be... Oh, God.
Oh, wait. Are we going to do that?
Yeah. Did you get the email, Todd?
Read the memo.
The sad thing is, I'd probably be the only one that shows up that way.
Probably. Yeah.
I'd forget.
Yeah.
I'll sleep before then.
I didn't mean to derail you there, though. But
no,
I was like, I'm glad to hear that, because after watching it and hearing like that reflection, I'm like, yeah, that's where you're supposed to be in the terms of like storytelling. Sure. That's where the story should be.
Sure.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't think they ever gave me my fish. I think they just gave me soup. I was a little disappointed by that. I wanted both.
Yeah, they did bring the kale soup, but you didn't say anything about the fish.
I didn't think you ordered the fish. I thought you wanted.
I said you listed off the options, and I said I want both.
Oh, I thought you meant both alcohol and soup.
No, and then when I ordered my wine, I said something along the lines of white wine will go well with kale soup and fish.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yep.
I tried to get both, and he only brought one. It's a shoddy establishment, is how I feel about it.
He's very busy. You know, he's stretched thin with the attack and supplies.
The miller died. He's very distraught about the miller's death.
It sounded like his wife was more upset about the miller's death.
Wife was real upset.
She could be.
The miller was a close family friend.
Well, that's where they get the flour to make the gravy.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, I don't know that. I mean, the tavern, I think that it was kind of a necessary conversation that occurred, but I don't think that there was anything. I can't think of anything that we need to call out and go, yeah, this occurred there that needs to happen. It's mostly just bringing all the characters onto the same page, which was kind of the follow-up in the conversation that occurred afterwards once Eretmir joined the party and we started marching off.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping one of the ninth would walk in, but they never did.
Well, I think, like Josh said, it was a good opportunity to point out all the characters' kind of, worries and despondence of the recent events.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it wasn't exactly eventful, but it definitely gave a window into the characters' mindsets after everything going on.
So you did get some news, though, Greg, about Nemeth. I don't want to share too much on this, but any thoughts from the group in hearing about Nemeth's disappearance?
I'm pretty sure Karina did it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious on finding out what actually happened there.
I feel like it would have been less suspicious of Karina. I would have been less suspicious of Karina if she had shown any concern about what was going on with Nemeth when you started talking about that during your trial.
Yeah, she just got angry.
Right.
Over and over again.
And
no other emotion.
Wasn't like, oh, you know something about this, tell me more. Like, I have concerns about this.
And I think part of that, though, is that from what I'm picking up for Erdemir is that she's very comfortable with her power and what she's wielding, and she's not showing any signs of being concerned or anything. And considering that her brother had been missing at that point and didn't even show any concern or anything regarding that, or so it seems like she is very comfortable in her position and I don't think she has too many things to worry about at this point.
Guys, she's fighting on the inside, okay? She's just trying to be strong on the outside. She's putting on a facade, okay?
I'm sorry, 𝐸⁻𝐸⁻ I really am. But there's something that the party is aware of, but they didn't share with the Ninth, the Archon, or anyone else. And that's that I believe his name was Goron, and Karina were in a relationship. If I remember correctly, Gabriella told us about it.
Yeah, they were doing the dirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Goron tried to kill Nemeth, and she didn't really care about all that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I wonder if there's a connection between her and the Miller. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, it sounds like the Miller is a friend of the
everybody.
Here.
I don't feel like anybody in this town is actually lawful because they just do whatever the hell they want. Sleeping around, whatever vows they take at marriage, they're not important. It's just...
Well, you don't know what the vows are.
That's a
good question. Faithful at the end of the day.
Joshua, please recite the marriage vows so that we're all aware of what's to hear.
Yes, please.
If it happens in a different neighborhood, it isn't cheating, right? No.
Yeah.
I don't know the marriage vows, but I will say that they also have the audacity to put gravy on fish. So
they break the laws of nature as well.
That's a good point. Yeah. Gravy.
You know,
Go ahead, Todd.
I was going to say, with Erdemir, at first I was kind of like, man, I probably shouldn't have chose to go skin the dragon and gone to the tavern. But I started thinking about it, and I really think that it would have been what Erdemir would have preferred because it was bringing him back to home. Like, he's been away now for a while. He is in a very strange culture, navigating all this going on. And so I think it was kind of a nice break for him to just be doing something that he might have been doing back home, and taking care of a dragon and doing stuff like that. So I think that worked out for him in a sense to have a taste of home.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we talked a lot about Eretmir's motivations last short rest, but I imagine he's pretty eager to get the shit done so he can leave the town. Like, what's the next task? Let me get it done so I can leave.
Yeah.
I can see how he'd want to get out of the city.
I feel like that's kind of where Dawn's at anyway, is just like, all right, I'm ready to be gone. They're going to kick me out. It's like knowing that you're going to get fired, and so you want to quit before they have the opportunity to take the joy away.
You got to get that severance pay.
Yeah, well,
you got to wait and get that severance pay.
Take a shit on the Archon's desk.
Yeah. They're getting ready to announce that you're being kicked out. You can't kick me out. I'm already leaving.
Look, I got my bags packed. Needs on a donkey.
I am curious on the whole Archon thing now that, you know, we've had the trial, and like, is he just slowly letting his power go away? What is the Archon doing here? Or can we know yet, I guess?
It'll be revealed soon. I can't tell you during this.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It
you
really
guys have picked
seems
up on a
like
lot of
he's
things.
just kind of getting pushed out of the way.
Yeah.
Like he's more of a figurehead at this point, and the Ninth is, forcing their way in.
Which is kind of why I was asking questions last time about the delineation of power with the various councils in the Archon, because I don't really understand if he's the de facto leader, what authority do they have to undermine him? And that's what's very confusing to me, is why he just doesn't stop them in their tracks and say, no, I'm in charge, you can't do what you're doing.
So I was actually giving this some thought too, John, because of your questions last time. So the Archon used to be part of the Carrion Council until he moved into the Archon position, and then the council remained, and he wasn't like a part of that body because he had a different role in it. So having the 9th Council being there and him not emerging from that body is probably part of that riddle of like why he's being pushed out a little bit, because he's not a originator from that body of power.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't think that answers my question.
Okay, the convolutes it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
How did they get the ability to make laws and to do the things that the Archon is supposed to be doing?
They shouldn't make laws. They're supposed to be the enforcers of the law that the Archon sets. They're the legislatures of the law. So they come through and they push out the law that the Archon has set.
Well, legislators create law.
That's not the right word that we need then. They essentially, the Archon though makes the law, and then the council are the ones.
They're the adjudicators.
There you go, the adjudicators of it. But what you guys have noticed is it seems as though they are creating the laws. They are being the legislatures, and the Archon has little choice but to follow through with what they're legislating. Okay. That's been you guys' like impression, that there's now this imbalance of power, and the 9th is pushing their way in of having more power than they should, and the Archon's not retaliating. Which may be due to his son be sitting there.
Technically, he has the authority to do so, or is it a situation where it's like he's supposed to legislate, but he has no power to adjudicate, and so since he has no power to do that, then he can't stop them from overstepping their bounds?
That could be very much a part of it. And I know there's also the piece that his son is sitting on the 9th as well.
Right? Yeah.
Which he's growing old, and someone's going to have to take his spot, which should be his son to move up in the Imperial family.
All right.
Very convoluted. But on another note, you guys got to meet the 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭, which I was super excited to introduce.
Yeah, those guys were awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I'd love to see more of those guys.
Yeah, I don't know we'll see them again in this campaign, but maybe we'll just have to do a whole other campaign where you guys are just playing the 𝐾𝐾𝐧'𝐭.
I'm down.
Fighting the
want to see more of them? Come on.
Well, it would actually be a lot of fun fighting the demon horde with the knowledge that we're eventually going to die. Like, we already know what's going to happen, but we'll just play the 𝐾𝐾𝐧'𝐭 and we'll defend our bastions until they're dead.
Yeah, I don't know if
you... pretty decent one-shot.
Yeah.
Or, even just a short, like, couple of weeks or something. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the story. I mean, which I don't know how much of this you left in the... because we talked about this a little bit last night, but that the happenings of Melkorka, the book that I wrote, is what wipes out the 𝐾𝐾𝐧'𝐭 later down the road.
Does it really wipe him out, though?
Well, that's a good question. I guess I am God. I can change it, but they appear nowhere in any of the 9 stories.
I mean, they didn't appear to us up until just now, so they could be hiding in some hole somewhere. Talking about hats and evil.
They don't like hats.
It is such a weird...
I actually had the thought to put illusioned hats on the Vucari just to make him pissed off.
It definitely makes sense in just the traditional mythological sense. Like, there's so many weird fairy creatures like that just brownies don't like milk or something like that. Like, it's just weird nonsense.
Yeah. The throwing of the dirt though.
Yeah,
it's like take off dirt. Sand in your eyeballs. Pocket sand, that's what it's called. That's the word.
Have you ever gotten sand in your nose and eyes? It is terrible.
Yeah, face planted on a beach. That was awful. It was not fun.
Yeah, they were great. I thought the magic was fun. I had some success with that last night. That's always
you did awesome.
That's always the highlight for me, is if I can get a spell to go off and be successful with that.
And we talked about this last night. That is, I wish I could do more of that.
Yeah.
but I don't. You know, there's no way for me, as you so eloquently put it many times, I can't suck somebody off and get younger, right?
Yeah. It doesn't seem to really slow you down, though.
Issue.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
But you could have a lot of fun with this. I mean, you have to remember that all of you, with the exception of 𝐿, of Todd's character, can use elemental magic. So you can throw up rocks as shields in front of you as reactions. Sure. Yeah, and also you can suck the water out of the body of the things that you're fighting and dehydrate them. There's all sorts of cool stuff that you can do that's elemental, but you don't have the benefit of staying young like Dawn can.
Yeah, and then my constitution drops below an 8. And I die.
I mean, without that item, my constitution's a 7. So, yeah, I'm already feeling it.
I think the funny thing is that in the rule is in there. I understand to kind of limit some of the stuff and everything, but if you like just translated this to the real world, like how do they even stay alive? We've only gone like what? 7 days or something, and you guys have aged like 70 years or something. And you would think every summer, like, here comes the new fight. Like, man, how have you guys been alive for hundreds of years?
Why do you think 𝐸 mothers are so adamant about him having a child?
I know, because he was only born last summer.
He's a year and a half old.
I think what you're witnessing here, Todd, is mortals trying to play ageless beings, because for the most part, like all the battles we've gone through, you guys have used a lot of magic, but in the reality, the 𝐸 would be using their weapons and bows and arrows and fighting off the 𝐵ukari, who just turn into animals without using magic in every battle. But it's not entertaining. Right, it's not entertaining. Yeah. But in the reality of like how they survive is they don't use magic as willy-nilly as these folks around the table in the course of battle, because we're playing a game.
Well, in the more powerful ones, it would be more akin to what occurred during the large scale battle where they send in the pawns to die. So which are the weaker 𝐸 that don't have as much power with 𝐿Dostfo to begin with. So the general sits back and watches his troops die and remains young, and then only uses his magic in defense of his own life for the most part.
No, and I get that. I'm just saying that with the mechanics how they are, and just it's kind of funny to think about if this was the reality of their world, and it was just like, man, and how do they live this long?
I just love that you're going to come out of it as the 𝐸spellini healthier than everyone else around the table.
Dawn is not too bad right now. I mean, Dawn has aged a little bit, but he's not too bad right now, and he can always reverse it too. Is the thing, like in 100 years he'll probably look younger than he does now, assuming he's still alive.
Is there a danger that he goes too far though? Like, he's like, I'm 13 again.
I think yes. If I remember from the books, you can age that young, can't you? If you get a hold of the water.
Usually, you take yourself back to the peak of your adolescence when you had your power. So, yeah, if you're seeking out the waters of life that are surrounding the World Tree or the Ash Tree, and you drink from those, it restores you back to your youth, which is what Dorothy does several times. That's how he keeps staying young. Is that he goes and he finds the ash tree, drinks from the waters, and reduces himself.
And I really don't like that guy.
Can't frickin' share with his own son.
Or with anyone else, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, why doesn't he share with you? That's weird.
Well, he didn't share the magic either. He's a greedy old man. Thought that was obvious.
What a dick of a father.
You can go read through that entire series and reread everything he says in those books, because he comes across in the books as being very benevolent and very kind and very understanding and all these compassionate things. But as you get further throughout the series, you realize that everything he said was in doublespeak. And if you go back and read through it again, you realize that's not the presentation he gives at all.
See, he always struck me as as putting on a mask. Everything he said
Too
had
nice.
Yeah. He was too nice.
Yeah.
He was the friendly old man, and it always just tweaked my senses there. Don't trust him.
So yeah, the dragon fight was good. I enjoyed that. It was shorter than I thought, but I think John with the magic holding him down and then the spike through the chest was awesome. Honestly, like that was perfect.
Still, well, I think I failed to hold him. The spike worked, but yeah, I think that
That's true. Yeah,
Greg's final blow definitely did some work there.
Just chuck the sword.
that sword.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got rid of his last 4 life.
I was really glad that you guys were able to take out the dragon. I'll tell you that this is where balancing starts to get probably problematic for me, especially in a new system. And I only like playing like the 6th level for this reason. But like you guys are at a level now where you can handle that size dragon. But even taking that dragon up 1 size more makes its AC like a 23.
yeah.
So it's almost impossible for you guys to hit. You have to use magic to fight against him. And his breath weapons do an insane amount more damage than what that one did. And that was like 10d10.
Yeah, I think that
heads.
you and I had a brief conversation about this before, and that was kind of what I had said is like, yeah, we handled him really well, but only because 𝐿rithmir got in his face. If any of the other of us had gotten close to him, we would have been dead. And yeah, I definitely get that from a balance perspective, and that's something that happens in a lot of different editions of D&D, where you basically end up with these glass cannon characters that cannot survive toe-to-toe with some of those really powerful creatures because they can put out so much damage all at once.
And I think another thing that happens when you have the higher characters is that then you have to make like the monsters almost able to make the higher level powers obsolete, which then brings that player back down to all they can really use is their basic skills. It's like, woo, I've got this high level, but none of my powers work. That's great.
Yeah, I mean that's why I had the 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭 in there, to be completely like transparent. Is they were the contingency plan if you guys started getting fucked. Like it was like bring out the little dwarves and start dropping rocks from the ceiling to take the dragon out, so that you guys all didn't die, or
Honestly,
at least give somebody else to take damage instead of you 4.
With how good what's his name did, I don't see how those other ones got trapped by that dragon, to be honest. Like, they could have stayed in their hole and killed that thing almost immediately.
They possibly could have. I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree there's the possibility they could have been successful with it. They essentially trapped the dragon, then trapped themselves. But it also is a case of, like, if they don't do well on their hits or the dragon is dexterous enough to move out of the way, it could dig through the hole, or 1 fire breath would take out the 3 of them, 1 from each head. Yeah. So it becomes really deadly for them if they don't have the numbers to contend against it. And they knew there were other dragons in the caves as well.
Yeah.
That's true.
How big was the big one? I'm curious. Did you have it on the map?
I didn't actually even have it on the map. No.
Okay.
It was just there as a lingering fear for you guys that I didn't actually create.
I was just curious if it would have happened.
I did have the other 2 of the 6 foot in the caverns, though. Like, they were there if you guys run into, if you chose to go after them and prolong the battle.
Yeah, I thought about it, but it's just so resource intensive, and we don't have recovery time is the biggest thing. So, like, 𝐿rithmir took, what, 15, 16 points of damage. It's already going to be difficult to get his health back up to full before we have our next encounter, let alone
without using a healing spell.
Right, let alone if we had like faced off against another dragon or 2 or multiple Vucari and he started getting birds in his hair and stuff. Yeah,
that's really the metagame piece. Like, you guys have 4 sessions left and 2 days game time. So you've essentially, each session is like half a day that you're going to have to go through for the next 4 sessions in order to get everything accomplished before 𝐿rithmir has to leave, and you have to have the stuff together to put the book together.
Yeah.
So you have very little time to recuperate anything that's lost for any battles that occur from here on out.
Yeah.
How many dragons do we have left?
None. You have
We're done with dragon parts.
You've done. No, you have 1 more part, but it's not coming from a dragon.
It's coming from some kind of squid thing.
What?
We gotta get the ink.
We gotta get milk.
We're gonna go milk a goat.
You know, one thing. When 𝐿rithmir, when we found the little guy, and he was ready to fight him off, like 𝐿rithmir was actually ready for him to take the lead and let him be just a little meat shield, and he was all for that. And then it was like, oh no, let's work together and let's just. And it's like, all right, I mean, I was ready to just bring the whole cave down.
Yeah, guide was one thing. I was ready to hear him to run in, see what the waste his dragon breath, and then go in, you know. But he didn't, so.
And then we found out he had more little guys. It was like, yeah, just put them all out in front. We'll just follow behind, collect what we want.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, I was surprised you guys didn't take the more evil route, but it is the thing, they are very much against evil. So if you guys had really pushed an evil agenda against him, he would have turned on you.
See, I expected we'd find the dragon before finding his people, so he'd help us fight the dragon, and then we'd get what we wanted. And I'd say good luck helping finding your people, and we'd leave.
Yeah, that's what I anticipated as well, honestly.
Yeah, like we just ditch him to finish his own quest on his own.
One dragon's gone, he'll be fine.
Yeah, no, we got what we needed.
I'm very proud of myself. I've heard you guys so many times this campaign say I expected during the short rest, and it was something different than I did. So I'm hoping that the curveballs are working, but because I'm glad that it's not just like a straight line, like always what you expect when you're walking into a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's hard.
It's definitely made me think outside the box with the way you set up the situations and the mechanics we have to work around. It is definitely a more thought intense game.
Thank you, Greg.
Wait till
you're going to do a challenge of wits next campaign or next session.
Sweet. Can't wait.
I don't know. I'm still feeling pretty good about the trial. I think I could do it.
I'm teasing you. I'm not throwing that out there again.
No hidden sphinx under the city?
No hidden sphinx. No. I got a few more curveballs for you guys, but I think you guys will be able to handle it well.
Well, I'm pretty sure at least 2 of us have fireballs now, so
see how that works. Should have fireballs now.
You're a cleric. Do you have fireball?
Yep.
Everybody has access to elemental magic.
It's elemental.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh
I wasn't sure if there was any issue with that.
We all know how liberal I am with my
I'm going to be watching you all do the whole, Indiana Jones drinking from the wrong chalice because you just have fireballs.
I like my fireballs.
I know.
That's good fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll actually cast any 3rd level spells because of the cost.
Fireball.
Oh, I will. I've been waiting for this.
Well,
I'm so
excited.
It
doesn't matter if you do.
It's also, I mean...
Like, I'm sorry, John, but your ability there is ridiculous.
I haven't used it that much. It hasn't bought me that much leeway. Maybe it has. But...
You've retroactively pulled back 2 rolls. Completely to 0.
I don't know what you're talking about.
To be fair, though, every time he's rolled, he's just upped his charisma and not got anything that he wanted.
Yeah, I'm not benefiting from aging at all. But no, yeah. I mean, for a lot of this, it really is just, it's the game, and I really want to use the magic. Like, that's the whole thing, is like, I don't really care that much if I age, because I would much rather be able to enjoy the magic system in the last few sessions we have left, and I figure...
See, I don't want to kill my character too early.
I won't die.
Like, it would
require a lot of
the last
magic.
fight, maybe.
I guess if I drink the quaff, I end up with like over 20 mana or something, and if I were to use all of that in a single day, I would age 2 or 3 times. So I could do a lot of damage to myself, but it's also very hard to use that much mana in a day most of the time, because most of the battles only last a round or 2 anyway.
Well, and again, you guys honestly only have 2 days left in the campaign, so you only have 2 days worth of mana left to spend.
I used 14 magic in one day. Trust me, 20's not all that unreasonable for me.
Yeah, 20 is 4 fireballs. That's it.
Which
5
would be glorious.
5 fireballs. 5 fireballs.
I very well may do. Who knows?
Is it 5?
Yeah, they're 4 mana.
I thought third. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 3 or 4. I think you're thinking 4 is 5, and yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put it like this: unless it's a dire situation, I will cast Fireball over Cure Wounds any day of the week.
Well, a proper healer, the proper way to mitigate damage in D&D is to take out the enemy rather than healing after.
That's right. We just need to combine this magic system with the exploding dice that we were using in the 2E, so that you
oh my god,
throw the fireballs that explode. Oh, it's too much fun.
Yeah. Take out the age restriction there and just do normal mana.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be.
That would be an insane
stupid amounts of fun.
Yeah.
Like I said last night, I'd love to come back to this system.
I'll note
and
it.
play
I'll
another
note it
game.
On my game.
Yeah.
Do another game without the age restriction. You said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I like
So
the moral,
dice
I
and
like
mana.
the moral quandary of the age pieces, which is why it's there. But I understand. Like,
Yeah.
just play with mana systems. I prefer mana systems over the other. The
Vancian.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to say, like, this sounds like a very weird conversation. Like, I want to play again, but without the age restriction.
Thanks for making
Well,
it
if
weird.
you're taking things out of context, Josh was calling himself a god earlier, so...
Yeah.
That's not out of context. I haven't died yet. You have no proof I'm not immortal.
Yeah.
Okay, Ash.
All right. Well, I think that's what we have for you guys tonight for the short rest. We will be back, of course, again next week for episode 9 of the 9th Ascensions. We hope to see you guys there. In the meantime, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the little bell. We'll see you guys again next time.